Right. We'll record it just in case anybody wants it and get started. So, good morning. Thanks for being here. I hope you all have fun plans for Thanksgiving. I'm sure lots of eating involved, which kind of ties into the yama that we have for today. So the yama is entitled brahmacharya. And brahmacharya literally means self-restraint or moderation. So it works out perfectly for Thanksgiving week. But another translation means going after a divine path. So when you use moderation or self-restraint, we're trying to achieve this divine path or supreme self, better self. So I think it's interesting. So practicing moderation helps focus on meaningful things and to not spread your life energy around to things that are not meaningful. So when you focus in on things that you really want to develop or put energy into, then it helps you stay away from things that aren't quite as meaningful. And it focuses the mind to be free from dependencies and cravings. So do we have dependencies that we need to move away from, that we could be ourselves without those things, even though we rely on them? So remember, extra effort doesn't always yield extra results. So we soften the effort and be open to possibilities. That's brahmacharya, self-restraint and moderation. So as you sit down to Thanksgiving dinner, think, savor each bite and, just think moderation is good for this meal. So please close your eyes. And turning to your breath. And also, because it's Thanksgiving week, I want you to just think about 3 things, either your physical, mental, or spiritual body, that you're really grateful for. And then think of 3 things externally that you're grateful for. Whether it's a person, whether it's anything in nature, whether it's a pet. And please bring hands to heart center. May we all adopt the yama of brahmacharya, self-restraint, moderation, reaching for our higher self. When we're not reliant on other things, we can much better feel the grace that's all around us and within us. And then please lower your hands, open your eyes. And since I know last week we talked about not being stealing from others, but hopefully I won't be stealing from you by doing a self-serving practice that's going to help my back and hopefully yours. So let's start on our back. So just move everything out of the way. And in particular, I want you to notice your pelvis here. So I want you to feel your hip bones and then maybe your pelvic bone. She's climbing on top. Come on up here, fatty. And see if you can get it level to the ground. So the same plane as the ground. Just feel how that all works. Hi, Artie. And then bring your feet a little bit wider. Well, it looks like you're good. And I want you to just think, I'm going to relax everything in that pelvis area. And then bring your arms up over your head. Oops, my blocks are in the way. And see, maybe you can hold wrists or even elbows. So keeping this area of your body, your pelvis level, is what we're going to go after right now. So lift your left ankle up and just bring it across and place it on top of your right. And then just notice maybe something tenses up in there and see if you can relax those muscles and keep the pelvis level here. You're doing a little bit of a side bend action, but trying to keep the belly facing up and the pelvis level. And just notice if anything tensed up and release it. This is really very subtle work. I really want you to notice that area. And then lifting the left ankle up, bringing it almost to the edge of your mat. Switch, just pause there, see if you can feel everything kind of relaxed again. And then we'll switch sides. So right ankle comes on top of left. And then see if you can keep the pelvis level again. There's so many muscles that are part of the psoas system in there. And I believe that's what I pulled. A lot of times we do irritate those connection points and pull those muscles. And just allow yourself to relax for a moment. Nice long spine. And then unwinding again. Feet stay wide. Allow everything to calm down once again. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the upper body. So see if you can bring the shoulders just very gently to the right. And then allow everything to calm down. Stay parallel to the ground. I have to check mine. And then just coming back to center. You can come over to the other side. Just keeping the pelvis parallel to the ground. Take a couple of deep breaths into your low belly. And then come on back to center. Now bend your knees. And grab a block. And I usually tell you bring the feet right under your knees, but today I'm going to have you bring them a little further away and bring a block between your upper thighs. And then squeezing the block, you can bring your hands on your pelvis if you want. You're going to tilt the pelvis so it tilts away from you to come to cow pose. But squeeze the block. So it's very gentle tilting. And then go the opposite direction. So you press the low back down, squeeze the block, draw the low belly up. You'll feel a little, it's very subtle, cat pose. And then cow, squeeze the block, don't forget that. And cat. Go super slow, just really noticing each direction. Squeezing the block. One more time, both cow and cat. And then pause with a level pelvis again. Remove the block. And engaging, so you're going to do movement from the core. So you want to find that place in the middle where you feel like there's a curve in the low back. You're lengthening your spine and then lift one knee up at a time so your shins are parallel to the floor. Flex the feet, hands on the thighs. And very gently, just kind of try and keep that level pelvis and long spine pressed away and up. Very, very gentle. And breathe. If you can't breathe through it, you're trying too hard. More moderation, more brahmacharya. Keep breathing. And then relax and hug your knees in very gently. You feel the low back go down to the floor when your knees are in this far. And then prepare for that again. So push the knees away, shins parallel to the floor, flex the feet, hands on the thighs, lengthen the spine. Use all your core muscles to keep the pelvis level and press away and up a little bit. One more breath. And release. Slowly bring your feet down. I have to do it slow because otherwise it pulls. But I want you to keep thinking of how this core area is really what controls your legs. So last week we used the quads and the hamstrings and all that. Today you use the core first. Of course, you have to use some of those muscles, but you're going to use the core first and then feel the rest. So let's bring the right ankle across the left thigh and just feel that. Bring your right hand on the right thigh and then lift your left foot up and bring it behind your hamstring. So keeping the pelvis level, press the right thigh away and resist with your thigh. That's the key. And then press your left hamstrings into your hand, but resist with your hand. And breathe. It's not so much that you can't breathe. Good, and release. Bring the left foot down and switch. So right foot's down, left ankle across, left hand on the left thigh. Just use those same muscles that you just used for that abdominal bracing. Lift the right foot up, grab behind the hamstrings. So press left hand and resist with the thigh. Press right hand into the hamstrings, resist. Pressing hamstrings. Breathe. Should feel really good in your core. Good, and then release, unwind. Now bring the soles of your feet together and just let your knees open wide. I'm forgetting. Again, just feel the pelvis level. And then slowly close the knees. Bring the feet a little further apart so they're hip distance. And just lift your right knee in and interlace in front of the shin. And think, okay, keeping the pelvis level, engaging the core, maybe extend the left leg to the floor with, if you can keep everything else the same. And then just very slowly and gently keeping everything level in here and in the core, lengthening the spine. Just draw the right knee closer to your right armpit. kind of opening everything up. Good, and then slowly release that foot to the floor using your core muscles and switch. Hug the, I like to interlace in front of the shin. You can do it behind if that's better for you. And then just notice that level and engage core and extend the right leg straight, if possible. If that irritates, then don't do it. Keep it bent. And then just slowly hug it closer to your left armpit, keeping everything else same. Good, and then releasing that, roll to your right side and push on up to all fours position. Hands under shoulders. Now we're gonna do cat-cow, but I want you to go super slow and you're gonna hold it. So let's start with cat. So think, I'm gonna really engage all the muscles of my core and lengthen and come to a slow cat and just hold there. Draw your low belly up. Draw the belly button towards the spine. You feel a stretch in your shoulders. Tuck the chin a little more. Good. And then very slowly transition to cow. You feel a lengthening the sides of the body. Very gentle coming into cow and holding. You can draw your low belly up a little bit. And then pause with a flat back now. And we're going to do some variations. I want you to think of using the core muscles. So remember the abdominal bracing. See if you can find that position for abdominal bracing. And then using those muscles, extend the right leg. Not so much the leg muscles. And keeping the hips square, keeping everything engaged through the core, maybe extend the left arm. And it's kind of just an extension of your core as well. Think core first, and then it's easy to hold. And then bringing both down. Pause for a moment. Check your core. So it's a lot of work to keep that core super engaged like that, but do it. And from that strength of the core, extend the left leg. I feel my low belly drawing up. My leg just feels like, oh, it's a natural thing to have happen. Add the right arm if possible. So there's no movement in the pelvis area. You're just really engaging and lengthening. One more breath. And release it. And bring your knees a little bit wider. Stretch your toes long and sit back to a child's pose. I put Bengay on my low back, and now my mat smells like Bengay. It's actually called Deep Blue. It's a essential oil version of Bengay. When I breathe deep into my low back area, you can just feel that I'm making a little more room there. And then coming back up to all fours, adjust your knees, adjust your hands forward a bit. You can do that. Remember last week we put the middle fingers together. And then come on up to a downward facing dog. And think of everything being an extension of your core here. And breathe. I'm going to have you hold this. So just think of really working the core. Lengthen and keep it stable. And then just how your arms and your legs feel an extension of that. Lift the arches of your feet and breathe. Not trying for cat or cow in your pelvis. You're trying to keep it stable and steady, connected. And for 3 more breaths. And then keeping everything strong, just move forward into plank pose. And hold there. When you really concentrate on keeping everything steady in the core and in the pelvis, it just doesn't even feel like the limbs are doing much. 3 more breaths. Unless you need to lower your knees, you can. Broaden your clavicles a little bit. And then lower your knees and lower all the way to the mat. Just go gentle. And then come up to your elbows, hands extended. Stretch your toes long. And then again, think about engaging the core. So you're not going to skip the tailbone, but you're going to feel a lengthening and then draw the low ribs back. Send your heart forward, lengthen your core. Allow your heart or your clavicles to broaden, lengthen up through the top of your head. Sphinx pose. Now you do feel a little stretch. More, it feels a little bit like cow, but you're holding steady. It feels good, hopefully. And you're going super slow, so you can just really integrate every part of the pelvis and the spine. Good. And then release, lower back down. Bring your hands by your chest and very slowly lift back up to downward facing dog. And then one hand width at a time, just kind of slowly walk. Pretend like you're a cat. You know how cats walk slowly and stealthily. Walk your hands back towards your feet. I'm going to bend my knees when I get there so that I can get the feet flat. I can feel that my core is not overstretching. And you can work to straighten the legs and let gravity take over. Forward fold. Feel weight in all parts of your feet. And now bend your knees again. Bring your hands up onto your knees. And then using strength in your core, slowly bring your pelvis upright. And then press into your feet and stand up. So far, so good, right? Come on up to the front of your mats, and I'm going to have you grab a block. Actually, why don't you come by a wall? I think that'll be better. I'm going to set my block about 18 inches away from the wall. You can leave your mat. You don't need the mat. Yeah, you won't need your mat. As long as the block doesn't slide, go a little further away from the wall. And then step onto the block with your foot that's closest to the wall. And then you can support yourself with your hand. Good. Now, just notice what happens if you very slowly lift your free leg up, so your hips not parallel, and then just kind of let it lower down very slowly. Well, that's not parallel either. Now find that spot in the middle where your core is really working and your outer standing leg thigh is really working. And then think, okay, this is going to stay engaged and I'm just going to let this leg swing. And don't use any muscle, don't use the quads or the hamstrings or the glutes much. Just use your core to stay steady and allow it to swing. Know how that feels super safe in your back, hopefully. And then slow down the swing and come to just even feet. Feel the outside of your leg getting really fatigued, hopefully. Your core hopefully isn't getting too fatigued, it's holding it there. Just notice and then step down. You feel it? Yeah. Okay, let's switch sides. So whatever side you didn't do before. I like the wall to support me just because I don't want to jar anything in my back. Now, if you want to practice without the wall, you can. So step on, first lift the left hip or whatever hip is free, and then lower it just so you can feel the difference. Go slow, because if you have a sore back like me, I can notice it, and then find the spot in the middle where you feel like everything's parallel, square, and The hips are even height. And then using your core to allow your leg to swing. Don't use the leg muscles, just use the core muscles. You'll start to feel it on the outside of the standing leg. So the psoas muscle system is more of a stabilizing. And so that's why I'm hopefully getting you to initiate all those muscles to stabilize. And the movement muscles, like in the quads and the hamstrings, those are more to make you go fast or move quickly. Fast twitch muscles, good. Slowly slow it down. Pause when it feels like you're right in the middle. Feel those leg muscles getting fatigued, but your core muscles holding you steady. And then slowly step down. Good. Now come back to your mats and grab your blocks and bring them with you. Hopefully you're so tuned into these core muscles now that we can work a little more. So inhale, stretch your arms up, thinking core stays steady. Keep a little baby bend in your knees. Maybe lift your heart a little bit. Maybe you can lean back and look up just a little bit. Those steady muscles. Good. And then bring hands to heart center. And as you do, bend your knees to Katasana. So nothing changes in your core and your pelvis. You're really engaging them. And then bring your hands on your knees and lean forward enough so you're just bending at the hip creases so that you can touch your blocks. And maybe lay your chest on your upper thighs. So it feels really safe in your core, and then slowly straighten your legs. Forward fold. And please step your right foot back to a deep lunge. And take your time thinking hips stay square, core stays engaged. Just feel the deep lunge. Everything's from that stabilizing core. Think a long spine. Good. And then just like you got there, step forward. Forward fold. And then switch left foot back. Deep lunge. Stabilizing in the core. Having that as everything's an extension of that. I don't need my hands because I'm using that core so much. Feel that? And move your blocks to the side so you can still feel that as you step back to downward dog. Try not to lose the really stabilizing core when you transition. And come forward to plank. And lower to the mat. You need to lower your knees first you can. Extend the feet. Oh, Hardy. It's not helping your core, is it? Artie's right under Connie's face, and she's allergic, so it's probably not good. So come up to Cobra, thinking just like you did in Sphinx. So lengthening. Don't scoop your tail, but think stabilize. Oh, that feels so good. And then lower back down. Curl the toes. You can push up to plank and then to down dog if you'd like. And slowly step your feet to your hands. And when you get there, just be mindful. You can bring your hands on your blocks. Bend your knees, hands to the knees, and press on up to standing. Inhale, stretch your arms up. If you're still stabilizing in your core there, maybe lean back, look up. I have to keep a baby bend in my knees just to feel safe there. And then hands to heart center, down to chair pose, it's Utkatasana. Try not to allow your core to destabilize. And then slowly lean forward. Lay the chest on the upper thighs, hands to the blocks. Straighten your legs. Don't have to straighten them all the way. I think this is safe for me. Step your right foot back first, deep lunge. Still have everything safe and stabilized. Lower the back knee. Really hug the knee forward, the heel back, hands to the front knee. Think stabilize, stabilize as you come more upright. And then if it feels good in your back everywhere, stretch your arms up, Anjane Asana. One more breath. And touch down. Lift the back knee. Step forward. Go slow. And step left foot back. Stabilize. Lower the back knee. Hug. Move slowly. Hands to the front knee. Come upright. Everything stays square. Hugging to the midline. Stretch up Anjane. And touch down. You can move the blocks. Lift the back knee. Don't destabilize as you step back. Down dog. And then either vinyasa or you can take child's pose if you want. I'm going to come forward. I'm thinking stable, stable pelvis, stable core. Lower down. Cobra when you're ready. Thinking, okay, everything stays stable. Lengthen. Lower back down. Downward facing dog. Again, think Is everything extending from the core and feeling stable? Whenever my back is super sore, I try and think of, I don't know, your body wants to protect you, so it scoops and tightens in different areas, and it just makes it even more sore and irritated. Walk your feet to your hands, go slow, forward fold. Hands on the block so you can bring them back to where you need them. And come on up to standing. Feeling good so far? Good. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Think stable. Maybe look up. Oh, lengthening. Hands to heart center. Chair pose. Utkatasana. Stabilize that core. So I'm always trying to engage. I'm not scooping my tailbone, but I am drawing the low belly up so I can think, oh, that's really safe all the way around. And then slowly lean forward, hands to the blocks, forward fold. Step the left foot back first this time, deep lunge. Make sure there's distance between your feet. Start with your core, so deep lunge, core, bring hands to the front knee. Come upright, crescent, warrior. Now, if you're really sore in your low back, you might have to keep a baby bend in the knee. Stretch your arms. The more you think of really stable core, the better it is. Bring hands to heart center now. Lean forward so nothing changes, and slide the left foot forward a little bit. And then thinking stable core, maybe extend to warrior three. Everything tries to stay stable. Oh, this is a little bit bad for me. Good, and then come on up. Standing. Close your eyes for a moment. And then inhale, stretch out. Still feel that stable core. Maybe open up a little bit. And then chair pose. Fold forward. Belly on thighs. Step the right foot back. Deep lunge. Stabilize first. Hands to the front knee. Hips stay square. Core stays engaged. Crescent warrior. Good. Transition to warrior three. Hands to heart center. Lean forward enough. Shift your weight. You can slide that foot forward. Thinking stable core. The legs just an extension. Warrior three. And then bending the standing leg. Come on up. Uttanasana. Stretch the arms up. Stable core. Maybe open up a bit. Hands to heart center. Good. Inhale. Stretch up. Exhale. Utkatasana. Hands to heart center. Fold forward. Uttanasana. Right foot back. Deep lunge. This time ground the back foot down. Hands to the front knee to come upright. And just go slow, thinking core engaged. Oh, warrior two. She is really enjoying your practice today, Connie. So I'm trying my best to keep everything stable in my core. Bring the left elbow to the knee. Stretch the right arm up. Brahmacharya. You can bring the arm by the ear if you want, if that's not pulling anything. And then look at the floor. Turn the back heel up, touch the blocks. Step forward. Step the left foot back. Deep lunge. Ground the back foot down. I'm keeping a baby bend in my back knee just so I can really feel my core. It's supporting me as I come up. Warrior two. Brahmacharya if you want. You can go lower. You have a block. You can go to the floor. Just go slowly. Think core is where it's at. I'm not going to pull anything. Maybe stretch the arm by the ear if that doesn't change anything. Just be really mindful. It's a slow, methodical lengthening and stretch, but with safety in those stabilizing muscles. Good. Look at the floor. Touch the blocks. Turn the back heel up. Set the blocks off to the side. Step back. Down dog. And yeah, so if you'd like, very slow and methodical, try not to change anything as you move to plank and lower down. Cobra. When you're ready. And lower down. And then push back to all fours. And go ahead and find a blanket, and you're going to take a seat on your blanket. And just stretch your legs out long in front of you. You want to feel stable on your sit bone, so feel that. You can inner spiral a little bit if you're not feeling grounded. Press your heels down. Bring your hands behind you and just stabilize your core again. So I got to think, okay, my sit bones are grounded. Just like that abdominal bracing, where's the part where I can feel super long and engaged, but not arcing or rounding? Just feel that length. And then slowly you can fold, just like you've been doing the Paschimottanasana. Just go to a spot where it feels like, oh, that's safe and connected, not too deep. I'm pressing my heels down, drawing my low belly up. I'm lengthening out. I'm not scooping the tailbone. Still feels good. All parts of my back. Hopefully it does on yours. Couple breaths and then slowly come on back up. Feel okay? Bend your right knee. And if you're super sore, keep the foot here in line with your sits bone, or if you want to try a little deeper twist, bring the foot across. Just interlace your hands in front of your shin. And then just think again, stabilize the core. So you feel that length, feel that connection, and then bring your right hand behind you and maybe twist. You can grab the knee with your left elbow if you'd like. Breath. And then unwind. Stretch that leg long. See if you have it where you want it. And then we'll switch sides. So either just keep it in line, bring it across, interlace in front. If you pull back and up, you can feel that abdominal bracing and the connection. Bring your left hand behind you and just kind of slowly move into the twist, just noticing each step of the way, whether things feel stable or if it's tweaking anything, so you have to go super slow. And please unwind. Stretch that leg long again. And last pose, I want you to just bring the feet wide. Might have to inner spiral again. Support yourself behind you so you can feel like you're super engaged. You feel your sit bones. You can extend up long. I like to press my heels down and isometrically pull them towards each other. And then see if you fold forward, just go really slow. Keep thinking, draw a little belly up, lengthen. Maybe you can fold forward. Upa vista. You feel anything in your low back, back out. When you hug muscle to bone, it heals it. When you're just trying to stretch as deep as you can and pulling the muscle long, it can actually do more damage. So that's why you hug muscle to bone in the core. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, that feels so good. It feels very healing. Good. And then slowly come on back up. Oh. And transition to your back. So careful. And just bring your feet wide and not too close to your hips either. Bring your arms to cactus. That works. And then let both knees come down to the right side. Just go super slow, thinking that stable core. It's gonna bring me there. And then just hold. Try and keep the pelvis level again. You're not forcing the knees down. Thinking stable core. Relax the psoas. Muscles, the stabilizing muscles just allow you to, and then re-engage them as you bring the knees up and over to the other side. And then allow them to relax. Take a few breaths there. And then re-engage the core so you can safely bring the knees back up. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open wide. Check, is my pelvis level? And then relax into it. I have to either bring my hands on my belly to feel that, or if it feels good, can bring them to the inner thigh. And then allow all those muscles to relax because you've got them in a good position. Allow gravity to do the work. And then from the core muscles, don't even have to really use the leg muscles to bring the knees up. And then stretch out for Shavasana and try the feet a little bit wider like you did at the first. Maybe your arms a little bit wider away from your body. You have to have your pelvis level to the floor. So the pubic bone and the hip are level. And then allow everything to just release and relax. Allow your tongue to relax. Allow your third eye to relax. As you continue to relax, I want to share a blessing from Julia Cameron, Book of Blessings. It's too dark in here. My light. I count myself lucky to have the opportunities which surround me for intellectual fulfillment. I count with delight the ways in which my life is enriched by the resources which are at hand. Rather than focus on what is lacking, I choose today to enumerate the things which do interest and delight me. I count the areas in which I have abundant resources. I am grateful for the diversity of my friends and my community, choosing to see that I can play an increasingly accurate role in my own self-nurturance. I recognize the many, as yet untapped arenas for self-enrichment with which I am supplied. It is a matter of perception whether I choose to view my life as half-filled and able to be ever more abundant, or half empty and ever more disappointing. Recognizing that this choice is mine, I turn my focus toward the ways in which I can deepen and expand my mind and my spirit. My mind is blessed by the food of my intellectual interest. Beginning to notice your breath. Really take a moment to appreciate your body and what it does for you every day. When we take it for granted, accidents happen. Begin to move in small ways. When you're ready to move more, bend your knees, the knees in, using your core. Remember to move mindfully and roll to your right side. Push on up to seated if you're ready. Just take your time. Thinking of brahmacharya or moderation, sometimes we try to make up for things. So if we don't get the proper rest, we try and catch up, and it never seems to work out when we do that. If we don't get enough exercise one day, we try and overdo it the next day, and that doesn't work out very well either. Or if we feel like we haven't eaten enough one day, or eaten healthy, we try and make up for it the next day, which probably will help actually, but if you're just mindful and do everything every day in moderation, in the right amount, and it usually works out best. Just sit for a few moments again, thinking of gratitude and a few things that you're really grateful for. Bringing hands to heart center. I am truly grateful for each of you. Thanks for practicing with me, putting up with my slow, mindful back practice. And I bow to the gorgeous, shining light in each of you. Namaste. And have a fabulous Thanksgiving. I hope that you enjoy every bit of your meal in moderation. So thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Really
Lisa.
grateful for you,
Oh,
Lisa.
thanks, guys.
Lisa, what did you do to your back?
Well, I was playing with Connor and he hurt his knee, and I just kind of reached around, picked him up, and to comfort him. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was.
Hope it gets better soon.
Well, it's better today, a lot better today than it was yesterday. So yeah, it'll be fine. It's
Good.
yeah.
You know the right moves.
I
The
hope
right things
so.
to do.
I hope so. Yeah. All right.
have a
Well,
wonderful Thanksgiving.
thanks.
Yes.